coming to you undead from Elm Street in fictional Haddonfield with a beautiful view of Crystal Lake, the podcast where every day is Friday the 13th and every night is Halloween. You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is the official horror movie podcast of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network, the home of Let's Chat, That Pop This Life, Failure to Launch, We Got 5, and TV Ate My Brain. Go to coretemparts.com for more information. Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, and listen on Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn, and Google Play. You can hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, and if you wanted to, you can call us and leave us a voicemail if you want. That number is 201-8BGNBR0, translation 201-824-6270. Say something funny or witty, and we will put it on the show. And if you leave a message with us this week, we will be talking about The Stranger next week. That is not to be confused with The Strangers. Music is provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. This episode is number 048, and I am Bloodbath.
And I am Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
I'm Bub.
So I should probably let my co-hosts and my listeners know that we're going through a fucking heat wave in the Northeast right now. It's terribly hot outside. And my air conditioning is not working, so the windows are open and the trains are rolling. So if you hear some loud, crazy noises, I'm not getting swept up by a mechanical monster. It's just the train passing through.
God, I wish that was part of the show where you just got swept up randomly. That would have been great.
So, and it is also extremely hot in this room that I'm in right now. I'm on the second floor of my house. It's like 85 degrees in here. So I'm sweating to the oldies. Next week, if you call into the show, you will get a free copy of The Stranger on Blu-ray. So be the first caller and you'll get one. This week, on the other hand, we all know, and we've known for some time, that Alien Covenant has come out, and which means we can finally, there's less sifting to get to some real, actual news. So be blessed. So blessed be the world who gets to go out and see it. I'm going to have to wait a couple weeks because I can't find a babysitter. It is what it is. As far as birthdays go, Joseph Zito was born on May 14th in the year 1946. He turned 71 this week. He has directed Blood Rage, The Prowler, and Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is the fourth installment of the franchise. And no need to go into Bill Paxton's career. We have talked about it many times, but the 17th was his birthday. He would have been 62. He died earlier this year. Bub, let's go ahead and jump right into Killer News.
It's that time again. It's Killer News with Bub on Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
All right, so Killer News this week. There's a lot going on. Zac Efron is going to play Ted Bundy in the new Ted Bundy movie. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel great about it, actually. I think he's perfect for the role. I really, really like him. I think, the movies that I have seen him in, The Neighbors and everything, I thought he was really, really funny. And I think he'll do a great job.
He looks like him, too.
I'm in a state of shock because I thought I was going to be like, I was like ready, like pounding my chest to stand up, like, oh, I want to see this kid like give his fucking chops and put on a performance of a lifetime, a la Heath Ledger, and I'm like, shit. Bloodbath thinks this is a good idea, and honestly, I totally agree with you. He looks like him, and I think if we give this kid a shot, he could really show us something. So, and The Neighbors is fucking hysterical, and he's great in it. So I totally agree. I'm down with it. I like it.
Yeah, he's not a good actor, but he's he's just a fun guy to have on the screen, and I think he'll do a good job. He looks in the part. Ted Bundy was supposed to be like a good-looking, suave guy. I think Zac Efron can pull that off. So good for him. I'm glad he got the role.
I mean, Ted Bundy has 30+ confirmed kills on Wikipedia. I think Zac Efron probably would have had 100+.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
All right, so keeping it on serial killers, Film Rise is to introduce my friend Dahmer. That seems pretty crazy too, right? It's like Dahmer when he's younger.
So I have that. I have that graphic novel. I bought it a couple months ago, and I thought it was something that was going to be like sitting by my bedside, and I would read, like, I don't know, every once in a while. But I read the whole thing cover to cover in an hour and a half. I loved it. It was amazing. It's a great, the way that Bergdorf, or however you say his last name, the way he told the story was just incredible. So it is I'm really, really looking forward to that. And the picture that they had, whoever's playing Dahmer looks like just like him. Exactly like him. It's crazy. Brett, what do you think?
I'm stoked for it, man. And like you said, that photo, that one photo of him like standing in the midst of all those kids, I was like, oh my god, this looks so fucking cool. Which, I mean, it's a still, but yeah, I thought he looked just like him, and I'm like, this is going to be a really fucking good show. Especially if they don't hold back anything. Like, it should be good.
Bub?
Oh no, I'm excited for it. But all right, so my next thing is the pinball machine that Jodie Foster was raped on in The Accused sold for $15,000 at an auction this week.
Do you think it's sold to one of her like stalkers, like her many stalkers?
No, because that's fake news. I was just busting your guys' chops. But but Get Out's Jordan Peele is doing Lovecraft Country for HBO. I'm excited about that.
Does that have anything to do with H.P. Lovecraft? Because I read the article and I was just really unsure.
They're not really letting you know. I'm really hoping that it almost has like a week-to-week thing of like stories based on his stories. Like maybe episodes that kind of like you know, like Tales from the Crypt is loosely based off certain things.
Like an anthology series. Yeah,
I hope it's like that.
I would be interested in that. I mean, after Get Out, I'm basically interested in anything that Jordan Peele has to say. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm just excited for his next. I'm that excited for his next thing.
Did you watch that alternate ending of Get Out?
I did not.
Oh my god, they're both great. Both endings are great, but the alternate ending like really tripped me up a little bit after seeing the original.
Brett, what's your take on Lovecraft Country?
I mean, obviously, I don't really know too much about the book. With Peele on board, I want to see what's going to happen. But what actually kind of disappointed me even more is the fact that he was offered to do the live-action re-envisioning of Akira, and he turned it down. And that fucking disappoints me so much because me being a somewhat anime nerd, I was like, fuck yeah, I would love to see him do that shit because the actual novels were very political science and they had a lot to do with culture. And I'm like, shit, he'd have a lot of things to say while simultaneously letting a little Asian kid get fucking turned into a weird fucking blob baby. I would love to see that. So it's that actually kind of put a damper on it. But yes, I will definitely see it.
Bub, what else you got?
All right, so Leatherface. It has a set release date for October this year. Who doesn't like Leatherface?
October's going to be a good month. It's going to be a really, really good month. We're going to get a new Chucky movie, a new Leatherface movie, Stranger Things. We got a lot of things to look forward to. I'm stoked for it because it's been, you know, Stephen Dorff is in it, and he's a horror icon. So the fact that he's there and he's he's excited about it makes me excited about it. And he's got another movie coming out it came out in Europe I think last year, and I think it's hitting the film festival circuit now. I haven't seen it. It's called Jackals, and it's supposed to be incredible. And I've been keeping my eye on IMDb for updates, but I haven't heard anything. But I am pretty pumped for. Dude, I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's no secret about that. So, Brett, where you at with the Leatherface movie?
I love the idea of like that they're following a group of kids, and you're not sure which one of them is going to end up as Leatherface. Which is, I don't know if that's what you got. That's what I got from the description, and I'm like, it's like a horror game of Clue. You get to watch and just see like all the fucked up things, and you're like, oh, that one's gonna fucking push him over the edge, and then more sick shit's gonna happen. I mean, if it goes that way, that's happening in my head, which I really hope it does. It's gonna be awesome. It's, to me, that's a great hook for a prequel.
Bub, what do you think?
No, I think it'll be cool. You know, I mean, I get a little nervous when they do, like, you know, the Leatherface ones, you know, because I really like the remake, you know, but I don't know, that 3D one wasn't so hot.
No, that wasn't very good.
You know,
and then that the one with Matthew McConaughey is totally unwatchable.
The Next Generation.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then they did the what was it? Well, 3 was bad. 2 was like barely watchable.
Oh, I like 2.
Well, 2 was good, but it wasn't very good. It was barely good. I shouldn't have said barely watchable. I meant barely good. But yeah, the first one though is just like, I wonder what Toby Hooper has to think about what he thinks about this Leatherface thing, because they're his characters. So I'm just curious to see what he has to say about it.
All right, so next topic, Strangers 2 is supposedly like has been completely recast. You know, and that kind of, you know, that confuses me because everyone's wearing burlap sacks in the first one. Why would they have to?
Yeah,
it could be anybody.
I don't know what the deal is with that. And then I heard from when I read that article that you're referring to, the guy who played like Baghead or whatever the name of that killer was, he's like pretty pissed off that he's not in the sequel.
I would be too.
I would be too, because it's not like he did. You know, I really don't know. First off, it's in the very, very early stages. So if he makes enough noise, he may get back into it. But because you don't want the worst thing you can do if you're doing a sequel, the worst thing that you can have is like an original cast member, especially in this day and age, screaming on the internet about how they got duped by the film. You know what I mean? Because it's going to turn people sour to the movie before they even show a trailer. With that being said, like, you know, there's been tons of people who have worn masks. Like, you know, how many people? There's been a ton of people that played Michael Myers. There's been quite a few people that have played Jason. So, I mean, it's worth. I guess it's worth looking into it. Maybe another actor, but I just don't. I don't see why. I mean, you got the same guy. As long as he's in good health, I don't see why he shouldn't be able to do it. So.
All right. So my final thing that I'm really excited about is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are teaming up, and they kind of started their own production company. You know, it's called Stolen Picture. Mm-hmm. And they're producing a comedy horror movie again called Slaughterhouse Rules. And I think that's going to be awesome. Like, it's basically about like a bunch of kids at like a prep school, like a boarding school. And, you know, I guess some like really supernatural shit just starts throwing down.
I love Simon Pegg. I think he's great.
Everything he does, man. Like a lot of his movies. Shaun of the Dead. I saw Shaun of the Dead in 2004, and I was sold.
Yeah, and then he did that other one where they're going on like a beer walk or something. You know what I'm talking about?
The World's End.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
I love that movie, actually.
That was a really funny movie, especially when they're making fun of him for wearing a Sisters of Mercy shirt. I don't know why I think it's so funny, but it is. So yeah, I mean, anytime he's involved in anything, it does amplify my excitement for it. He's all around. He's a pretty good actor. He does, you know, mostly does comedy roles, but he does some. He does a few dramatic roles every so often, and they're usually pretty good. So. Good for him.
He wasn't always funny in the Star Trek movies. He had some emotional moments there. I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, and actually, I was gonna bring up The World's End. I'm like, he's got a knack for being hysterical and also drawing emotion out of characters. And I think for him making or at least forming a production company where he can keep pumping out these great horror comedies and even stretching his wings, I'm totally on board. I'd love to see what he does.
So other little news tidbits, USA Network and Sci-Fi will run a Purge television series that will coincide with the new Purge film, and both of those are coming out in 2018. Fox will continue on with season 2 of The Exorcist TV series. It was up in the air as to whether or not they were going to do it, but they've decided to go with that, and they're also keeping that show Lucifer, but they have canceled Scream Queens after only 2 seasons. The only reason I ever watched that show was to check out Emma Roberts. I don't know what it is about the girl. I just think she's a fox. But even that wasn't enough. There wasn't strong enough conviction even in that to make me watch more than, I think I watched 3 episodes, 2.5 episodes, something like that. It was a drag. The sequel to The Craft was done as far as the script, but Sony rejected the script and brought in veteran puncher upper Daniel Casey to rework it. Leah Janiak, I don't know how to say her last name, was and is maybe directing this. She directed a movie called Honeymoon, which was fucking great. And Casey has worked with Fede Alvarez, and he also worked on 10 Cloverfield Lane. So that's hopefully, I didn't really think that The Craft ever needed a sequel, especially 20 years later, but apparently it does. So there it is. Who's got the trailer of the week?
I think I do.
What you got?
Did you guys watch the trailer for President's Day?
I tried to watch that dopey trailer, but it kept freezing on me for some reason because it wasn't a YouTube video. It was like just some other video format.
Oh.
And it was, so I got about halfway through it, and it might be trailer of the week for you, and good luck with that.
All right.
Have fun.
No, it doesn't.
Bruce, I'm with you on this one. Go for it.
No. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch it, we can talk about War for the Planet of the Apes if you'd like.
No. You picked the trailer of the week this week. You pick what you want. It's fine.
I didn't pick War for the Planet of the Apes because there was a crummy sounding Candlebox song in the background. And I sat through 3 minutes of it, and I did not see one banana. There was not one banana in that whole trailer.
Oh my god!
And there were so many monkeys.
And
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked President's Day. Yeah, I picked it because it's a bunch of kids, and basically I guess they're like in like a cabin or a house in the woods, and all these dead presidents are trying to kill them, and it's amazing. And they're like, you know what? They're
fantastic.
Their only saving grace is they need to bring John Wilkes Booth back to save themselves.
Wait, I can't remember, Bub. Which was the president that the guy who was dressed as a Native American could remember? Was it like Taft or something like that? He was holding a shotgun to his face.
It was Polk.
Andrew Jackson.
James K. Polk.
Yeah,
it was Polk. That's right. It was.
Yeah, he's like, who?
They had. What's best about it is that they had this long scene where they just showed this obviously white dude dressed in offensive Indian garb on the ground, covered in blood, with like a shotgun in his face by a zombie Polk, and Polk's just all like, "I'm former President Polk," and it's just like there's like this 8 seconds where this guy's just staring at him. And he goes, "Who?" I was like, yeah, I'm sold. I'm watching this fucking movie in a heartbeat.
Oh, it was so funny. And John Wilkes Booth, they really make him out to be like a total asshole, like fake mustache
like,
and all.
All right, let's go get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. First night, let's do it.
Yep.
Maybe they should have done it so that way they have to free John Hinckley from prison, and then he goes out and shoots all the presidents. That's the one that shot Reagan. Dead silence, huh?
Everything just got real dark. Everything just got real dark.
I didn't know we were gonna get it. I didn't know we were gonna get a history lesson over here. I'm just excited about Zombie Washington. Okay.
Yeah. And did you see how Zombie Lincoln flipped that top hat onto his head? That was great.
Yes. Yes. It's awesome. If there are not zombie eagles flying over this log cabin, I will be sorely disappointed.
I'm telling you.
So let's take the break that we like to take, and when we come back, we will be talking about Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge.
You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Let us know what you think by reaching out to us. We can be found on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook by simply searching Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. To suggest a film or trailer you think we should discuss, or to comment on this or any other episode, send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. We will always get back to you. Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, and enjoy the rest of the show.
The Nazis thought they held the world's strings. But Andre Toulon didn't need wires to make death move.
Herr Toulon has developed a method of animating his puppets without string. It's as if they were alive.
If Stein is even half right, this could be very important to my work.
This is one of the puppets I was telling you about.
Elsa, take what you want, you bastards, and get out of here. That would be you, puppeteer. Put him into the second car. Take him to Gestapo headquarters. And put the toys in with the toy maker.
Never knew a man who played with dolls before.
Herr Toulon has escaped your custody. We are very close to finding him.
No thing will stop me from seeking you out. And you will cry me mercy. And I will have none.
What is this joke?
Find him. I don't care how many patrols it takes. Find him!
Herr Toulon, you are a genius.
Johnson, this is the best I can do for you now. But you can still revenge yourself. What is the secret? Nell! No mercy.
You think I'm afraid of this?
You will be afraid.
Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge.
Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge went direct to video in 1991 with a naughty count of 2 and a body count of 13. It was produced on a budget of $800,000 and directed by David Decateau. I don't know how to say that. Go, Brett, go.
Wonderful. So Andre Toulon, alongside his gorgeous wife Elsa, finds respite from the turmoil of Nazi Germany by putting on puppet shows for the young and the eager. Rife with political satire and less than flattering views of Hitler, Toulon's world is shaken to the core when a Nazi officer is among that captivated crowd. Toulon watches in horror as everything dear to him is taken away by the despicable Major Kraus. His show, his freedom, and even his beloved's life. Now motivated by revenge and loss, he begins his hunt to take down all that contributed to his wife's violent end. But Toulon is not alone in his quest. Through the majesty of ancient experimentation and otherworldly science, Toulon's puppets have lives of their own and are armed to the rods with six-shooters, leeches, and even deadly drills. The Nazis may believe they are in control, but they will soon come to find that it is not their hand that is pulling the strings.
Yowza, Brett. That was a good one.
You know what? Full disclosure, it's a lot easier to do these on these, like, Puppet Master 3s and these like ridiculous stories, it's just a lot easier to do them. They're a lot more fun to write.
Well, you did a really good job. So this movie, I think what's great about all these Puppet Master movies in general is that they're short.
Yes.
That's not me saying like, oh my god, thank God it was over.
I thought you were talking about the puppets being small, like they're short.
Oh yeah, the puppets themselves are short in stature.
But
thanks for pointing that out, bub. Yeah, this is a listening show. They can't see. Okay. I'm gonna turn on my listen machine, and the guys from the horror thing will be there.
I realized that as I was making the natural movement, I realized that nobody's fucking watching me right now.
But yeah, I mean they're not very long movies. I mean, I have this DVD with like the first 9 of them, because apparently there's the one they're working on now is like number 13. And but I had the first 9 of them on DVD, and I don't think any one of them stretches over like 85 minutes. So it's kind of a good thing, because my optimal movie time honestly is somewhere between like 77 minutes and like 87 minutes. That's like optimal time. That doesn't mean you lose points if you go over that, but like I just kind of want a bloody mess for about an hour and 20 minutes.
I guess you didn't like Gangs of New York.
No, I did like it. I mean, it's just like
4 hours.
Optimum for me is just an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. But
now we all know why you hate Lord of the Rings, so I get it now.
No, Lord of the Rings is just a bad movie. I mean, it's just not good. I just don't get it.
You bite your tongue, sir.
Yeah. Anyway. So it's shot in 18 days. It's actually called 3, but it's called 3, but it's actually a prequel. But there's like a ton of inconsistencies with this and the other 2 films. In fact, it sort of reboots the film in a lot of ways, because Toulon and the puppets are actually good guys in this movie. In the first 2, they're like super evil, but it's not hard to portray them as good guys when most of the other people in the film are Nazis. So, what are you going to do?
Easy money right there.
It's just low-hanging fruit right there, So, as with most of these like full moon pictures, especially these franchise ones like, Evil Bong and Ginger Dead Man and Demonic Toys and all this other stuff, continuity just doesn't matter. It just comes totally second. And I've seen the first 3, and then after that, you could sort of jump around and watch them, and it doesn't really matter what order you're watching them in. They're all produced, which is weird because they're all produced by the same guy, and they come out of the same like movie house. You know what I mean? So you'd think like if anything, like they can control the story, and they're like, nah, fuck it, just get the Blade one and the Drill one and the Leech one, and we'll just mash them together.
That guy's sitting on his couch in his living room in his underwear, eating a TV dinner, like, hey, you know what? We're gonna do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's put a Nazi in the movie. You know what? Let's put fucking 10,000 Nazis in this fucking movie.
I haven't seen a good Nazi exploitation movie in a while. Let's do a puppet exploitation, Nazi exploitation. I think that's the way to go.
You know what? Schindler's List is out this year. I think we need to make a Puppet Master Nazi movie.
But we'll make it serious this time. It'll be a serious movie.
Guys, quit laughing, all right? This is a serious movie. These are serious puppets. The story by itself, though, compared to the other Puppet Masters, it's actually a really cohesive story. Brett, remember when we did the episode where we talked about Puppet Master and Demonic Toys, and we said that Puppet Master wasn't good because it felt like the story was just really weak, and it was like jumping around all over the place? This one had a good story. It started off really good.
This one had a very cohesive narrative, without a doubt, and I that was like my biggest shock. I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna be an excuse for them to kill Nazis, but I'm like, wow, this movie's actually progressing from scene to scene. I was fucking shocked.
Yeah, it's for what they had been trying to accomplish and failing at, and somehow thinking they were not failing at it. I don't know how that happens, but
and making and somehow making, like you said, like making Toulon, instead of being this like evil maniacal sorcerer, to make him like this guy full of heart that like gives kids candies out of his fucking pocket on his porch.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I was like, damn, I kind of want to hug this guy or go over his house and mow his lawn for free because my mom said that's something nice to do.
Things like that made this episode feel like it should have been like on Are You Afraid of the Dark? Right? Like,
yes. Or it's like Home Alone, where like it's like Home Alone, where like the McAllister kid's always scared of this like one character, and he always ends up fucking befriending them because they like pigeons or some shit. Like that's exactly that's exactly how I felt in this movie. I'm like, oh, Toulon, you're just a friendly grandpa.
I thought that the opening sequence was fucking cool with like the dead Nazi soldier coming back to life and like attacking them. And it was a great beginning and a great spot to launch a cool story. It kind of, you know that you're getting involved with, a guy. There's a guy somewhere sticking his hand up a puppet's ass, and you know that that's coming at some point.
He's not sticking hands in them. They do it themselves.
But you could take it seriously for at least, parts of the film. You were able to take it seriously and like, push the believe button and just be like, okay, all right, this is all kind of making sense. And it's because the storytelling was really good. I've been talking a little too long, so I'm going to go to Bub.
You know what really bothered me was there was that one Nazi guy with the glasses, and he just happens to monitor this puppet show, and like, his hobby just happens to be marionette puppets, and he's like, where's the strings? Where's the strings? It's like that fake Hitler puppet's doing it by himself, and the cowboy puppet, and then and then he like happens to stand on a milk crate outside of the building and watch Toulon injecting them with this fucking reanimator green syringe, and I'm like, oh, makes sense, and
Brett, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brett.
Bruce, Bub, when you were saying him standing on that milk cart, did anybody else feel like they were watching Roger Rabbit? When the detective was taking photos of Jessica Rabbit playing patty cake? Because that's the first fucking thing my juvenile ass thought of. I was like, I'm in the background. I'm like, I hear like, oh yeah, well, we got to be really careful about it. All I heard was patty cake, patty cake, patty cake. Okay.
I thought it was funny that you brought up the reanimator thing because I can't help but think that, and I thought that there was several references to the reanimator and several references. Well, not several. Maybe one or two references to the Evil Dead, especially when his wife died and they brought her puppet, the likeness or whatever, like the way it like kind of shot up and like became alive. It looked like one of the it looked like the girlfriend from the first Evil Dead movie, and I thought that was really funny. I liked it. I thought it was good.
No, I totally agree with that, and I don't mean to skip, but I like that they gave the puppets some real good backstory, like kind of how, and I'll never remember their names, but Blade, right? Isn't that Blade? Yeah. How they kind of gave Blade a reason to be, and they made Pinhead kind of like the goofy, affable friend who always has your back. Like, I was kind of like, oh, I feel like they somehow gave more, like, which we'll touch on later, but they gave a lot of depth by explaining the puppets a little bit more, which I felt, yet again, like you said, totally contradicts the other films that I've seen. But I just took this one as like a random episode for face value, and I love the depth of the characters that are fucking puppets. I can't believe I just said that fucking sentence.
I'm almost certain that at least I know Richard Band wrote the music for the Reanimator, and I'm fairly certain that Charles Band, the producer for all these Puppet Master films and stuff, was also involved in some way, shape, or form with that film. I don't remember in what way, but I just have this feeling because they don't really Yeah, I'm looking at it right now and I don't see him, so it's just maybe just Richard Band, but still. Oh wait, Empire International. That is Charles Band's company. Well, his former company that was him. So yeah, he was. It was, he ripped off his own movie, which is that's fine. Whatever. I guess you're allowed. I liked the 6-shooter puppet. I thought that was really cool.
The laugh is so creepy.
And it's supposed to be an all-American like puppet to signify resistance to the Third Reich. I thought that was a really nice touch. I get it. Apparently, when the film was being shot, it was supposed to originally be shot in Romania, but there was like political instability at the time, obviously, because the Cold War is coming to an end. And so it's obviously not a good idea to be hanging up Nazi posters all over town. So they shot it on a lot in Paramount. And Charles Band loves to shoot movies in Europe. We know that about with like From Beyond, Reanimator shot in Europe. I think that one shot in Italy.
What is that about? What is that? I don't know what that's about. That's crazy.
He lives in Italy. He's Charles Band is huge, and he's like a ginormous. He's like Steven Spielberg in Italy.
Didn't we touch? Did we touch on? We touched on this in a previous episode, didn't we?
We talked about it in Castle Freak.
Castle Freak. It was a Castle Freak. Yep.
Because that was his house.
He's like, these puppets. I must film them in Europe. In Europe.
And he's like red-blooded American too. He's like he just lives there. I guess he got I think the thing is his company got popular in Europe and they were super supportive of him in Europe, so he just stayed.
He probably saw Team America, World Police, and the beginning scene where like the the terrorists are blowing up the Eiffel Tower. He's like, no, we do not shoot puppets like this in Europe. No.
I like that you brought up the it was shot on a set because, and this is going to be like one of those gripes which really is unnecessary because of this film was straight to fucking video, but it was obviously shot on a set. Like it was drastically obviously shot on a set. And the one thing I had to bring up because it was just fucking bothering me is every time they cut to Toulon hiding in that like broken down building, they showed the same fucking pixelated still shot of some wreckage, which looked nothing like they were staying at, and just changed to like exposition on it to make it look darker at night. And I was like, is this an inside joke, or is this like, yeah, this is a good movement from one scene to the next? Because I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, you're doing so good with what you got. What's this? Production value in this film is obviously flawed. Yeah, it's obviously flawed. I have two like stupid gripes about it too. So Toulon makes a puppet of it's supposed to be the likeness of his wife, right? Really early on in the film, like he presents it to her as a gift, and it looks awful. Like really awful. Terrible. This guy is supposed to be like a master puppeteer, like he's the master puppet maker. She's excited about it. And it looks like a fucking abortion. It's terrible. And it obviously ends up, of course, becoming the Leech Woman, which we've seen in other Puppet Master films. And the Leech Woman has been and will always be my favorite part of any Puppet Master film. Because it's just so gross and stupid. And I laugh every single time. So there's that. And then the other part was with Kraus. And it's after the Nazi general gets killed. And he's like investigating what's going on in the apartment or whatever that he was in. And he says... The brothel? Yeah. It was a brothel, right? Oh, it was a brothel. Yeah. You're right. It was a brothel. And he's like, I've never seen bullets this small. Keep in mind, a Nazi general has just been killed. So there's just a ton of dudes hanging around. Mm-hmm. And somehow Kraus, who got there, who's the last person to get there, looks on the floor, picks up a tiny gun held by a tiny puppet hand, and he's the only one that saw that. He's the only one that drew that conclusion, like, oh, hey, this tiny bullet must be from this tiny gun, like, and he's totally shocked to find it. And like I said, it's just a dumb written part. It
that kind of stuff just irritates me. Like, there's no way that if you got a room with like 6 dudes in it and they're all looking around to try to figure out what happened, that they don't pick that thing up and go, these bullets might match this gun. Maybe I should you know what I mean? Like, there's none of them have any instinct of doing any detective work whatsoever. That's not really grounded in reality, you know? If some guy had run up to him and if he's like, this is the tiniest bullet I've ever seen, they're like, yeah, and we found this, and then they have the tiny gun, then I wouldn't even be complaining right now, you know? Or like, sir, look what was left behind, you know, anything like that. And then they do the thing where they put the bullet in the gun, and then they're like, that's when it dawns on them that the puppet master can actually be a threat to the Third Reich. Like, that would have been a much better write. Why don't I do this for a living? I don't know.
Well, and I agree with you, because it's I feel like this movie's almost reversed. Like, we watch some films, like, and I'm like, this is a great premise, and they can't even nail the basis of the story, but there's always little cool parts in it. And I feel like this film this is a great premise, and I say that with a laugh because it's so fucking stupid and ridiculous, but it works. And they nail the bones and the meat of this film of how can we explain a prequel? It's fucking perfect, but all these little things that they add in for exposition, like you said, Bloodbath, they don't work. They make zero fucking sense.
Right.
And one of my biggest gripes about it too is Dr. Hess, because through the entire film, I'm like, well, he's going to become friends with Toulon. He's going to be friends with Toulon. He's going to be friends with Toulon. Oh, look at that. He becomes friends with Toulon. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then he gets some weird, like, 2-second speech of, like, well, genius needs to live on, and you're a genius. Blah. I'm like, you guys have spent fucking 35 minutes setting up to this point where he is going to sit down with Toulon, and you fucking wasted. Wasted it.
This movie would have been badass if Krauss was played by Rutger Hauer.
I actually like the guy who played Krauss.
I like Richard Lynch. I thought he did a great job as Krauss.
I thought he did a good job. What do you think? Why do you think Rutger Hauer would have been so much better?
I don't know,
just
man.
Because he's Rutger Hauer?
Yeah, he would have fucking killed it, man. I feel like Richard Lynch, he's like, you know, the dollar store version of Rutger Hauer.
I think the Rutger Hauer argument is always valid, like, because he's Rutger Hauer. I mean, it's really all you have to say. Rutger Hauer could be the tall man if he wanted to for the Phantasm reboots that apparently they're doing now. But can we... So, Brett, you brought up Hess before, and there's one part that just makes me laugh, all right? So, we're already near the end of this movie. We've already drifted through it. But can we talk for a second about how, like, at the end, Hess gets a gun, and then he fires it, and the way that he's shooting the gun, it's like a little kid shooting it, and he's almost surprised that bullets are coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a cross between a kid shooting it and a stereotypical thug in a movie. Like, if he had just cocked his hand at like a 90-degree angle, he basically would have been shooting like every shitty movie would make him shoot. He just limp-wristed and crazy. And he was
was jumping in place when he was doing it, like an excited little kid that's just about to get like taffy or something. Like,
I am not a warrior. Okay, I'll be the first person to say it. I work a fucking 9-to-5 desk job, but if I had to shoot somebody, I have a somewhat decent idea of how to hold a gun and fire it at somebody. So the fact that he's a doctor.
If you would shoot a gun, would you like turn it to the side and do like your gangster? Would you do a gangster lean? Like, would you?
Hell no, I'm left-handed. I would hold the gun in my left hand. I use my right hand to help stabilize and try my best to aim and fire like that. And that's all I got. Like, I probably won't kill anybody or hit anybody, but at least I'll look like I know what I'm doing before I get killed.
It's conversations like this where I really wish Pete was here, just for. Like, if he could just, sort of like airdrop in on us, like, hey, I heard you guys were talking about guns.
Yeah.
But, and actually, on that point, I think I just came up with a great life analogy, is that we all just want to die looking like we know what we're doing. So thank you.
I've been faking it till I make it for like 33 years.
Metaphysical out right there. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know anything. I don't know how to do anything. I don't. I hope my wife doesn't even listen to this because I don't want her to know that. I don't know how to do anything. All the repairs I do in this house, I don't even know if they're really repairs. I may be adding to the problem. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out now. I guess only time will tell, but I don't know how to do anything. So I'm just trying to look cool. I'm just trying to leave a good-looking corpse, Brett. That's all I ever wanted to do.
Amen, brother. You and I are going to be fucking gorgeous as we're being pushed down into Mother Earth. We'll be looking fantastic.
Pushing daisies.
Amazeballs. Amazeballs.
Hashtag adorbs.
I don't know about Bub. There's only so much that modern science can do.
Well, you know, that's just fine, because they're going to bury me face down so you can all kiss my fucking ass.
There you go, boy. There you go, boy.
I told that teacher lady the only colors that matter are red, white, and blue.
So if we're kind of touching on the end, I kind of like to ask a question.
Sure.
What do you guys think about Toulon's conversation with Hess, where Toulon basically tells us but doesn't really tell us exactly who they are or how close he was to them, but tells him that his puppets are the resurrected spirits of his friends that were killed by the Nazis. Or at least his acquaintances, because he doesn't really go into detail what they are. He just talks about how they died wrong, and that the whole reason they came back was to exact revenge because they died wrong. They died for wrong circumstances. How do you guys feel about that dynamic on the puppets?
I thought that was awesome.
What they essentially did with that is they changed the trajectory. The trajectory of the franchise from there on out. In the first two movies, those puppets are evil. Toulon's evil. And after that, they're not evil anymore. Like, they're, we'll see where they go, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense that they would just turn into like bad things. I mean, it's sort of like they're just they're puppets that fight tyranny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm into it. My only problem with it is that like a lot of these movies, the details really aren't there, and he didn't do a good job of and it was maybe not his fault. He was reading a script. Whoever wrote this didn't do a good job of really explaining it. I mean, I have a loose grasp on what those puppets are all about, and I paid attention and stuff. It's just like you said, but that conversation was a long conversation, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And at times, I felt like I was getting lost. You know what I mean? I don't know if you got the same thing. I'm curious to hear where your thoughts are with that.
And I feel the same way. But Bub, I want to shoot it over to you, brother. What do you feel about that backstory on those puppets?
Well, I thought it was kind of cool. Because that one that laughs all the time, he's like, yeah, this was my bookkeeper. He's quite a character. This guy's he's not losing his friends. He's bringing them all back to life as puppets and shit. That's awesome. I can't tell you how many friends that I have who have died. And it's if I can bring them back as puppets, that'd be cool.
Well, I mean, if they died in a terrible way, yeah, definitely. I'd like them to exact revenge. Dude, Bloodbath, you hit the nail on the head with the whole fact of what I wanted from this film when he started bringing up the whole what was written in where Toulon brought these people back to exact revenge. I wanted the and by the way, you and I agree, we fucking thrown out the lore in the first two films. It's gone. It's out. The dates are off. Didn't he shoot himself 3 years before this film?
Yeah, dude. One? It's
it's gone.
I watched. So I think we both rated the first one a 1, if I remember correctly, and then I watched the second one earlier this week to kind of just watch my way through the whole just the trilogy. I wasn't gonna watch all 13 of them, but I would I just watched my way up to it, and the second one was slightly better because it was a little bit funnier. So it was like a 1.5. We'll give the rating later for this, but I mean, one of the other reasons I like this one a lot more because it was way gorier, and we all know how much I love the gore. But I interrupted your train of thought, and I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. I just wanted to get to the point that I thought it was awesome that they were bringing some sort of character to these inanimate objects, and I wanted a stereotypical dude who lives with the bears and he's friends with them, and out of nowhere they just fucking rip him to shreds. I wanted that discord in their souls so that sooner or later they turn on him, and I didn't get that, and that really fucked up the whole entire series for me, because I was like, well, no, I want a connection between these murderous, psychotic, non-caring fucking puppets. They're puppets, man. Come on, they're puppets. They're one of the most non-scary fucking thing in the world. Give me a reason, even though they're buddies now, and we got a 6-shooter, yeehaw. Give me a reason to think at the end of this film that they're gonna wreak havoc on fucking people. Let them kill that fucking kid Peter, however they pronounce Peter, but let them fucking kill him. Bring it back. Bring back the whole idea that these are psychotic pieces of wood, and I'm gonna be happy. But they didn't do that. I'm like, shit. Missed opportunity again. I would have loved to see them not agree. Toulon be like, no. Let's save Lynch and let's turn him over to somebody else, and the puppets not agree and fucking kill Toulon and then kill Krause. Mm-hmm. That would have been fucking awesome.
I kind of liked how they took it in a new direction, because I just think they would have been repeating the same movie and over and over again. They told a totally different story, and now we got puppets against fascism. So, what can you say? I do like the end where Krause dies. I found that to be a pretty decent ending. There's a little bit of body gore, lots of screaming, and that's sort of what you want from a movie like this. And they string him up like a puppet.
Oh yeah, it was crazy, right?
And and he's cut by a puppet that matches his likeness. It's ironic, right? That's irony right there.
Yeah.
The Blade thing, and I thought that was cool, because Blade is, we know him as basically on the cover of all these movies.
He's the face. He's the face, really.
Yeah, we had to wait till the third act to get his backstory, but then we got it. And this whole movie was his backstory, so that's pretty. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought it was done really well. And what else? Who's got other stuff to add before we head into our final break?
Oh, one more thing. One more thing for me. I heard that Eli Roth, he watched this movie every day on the set of Inglourious Basterds to get his his motivation for his character, the Bear Jew.
You're making that up.
He watched this movie and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill some Nazis."
You're making that up.
I'm totally making that up, but I wish it was true.
Brett?
I really want to kind of touch on favorite scenes, even if we're just going to repeat what we said, but...
Oh, yeah, you go first.
God, the fucking ridiculous murder of, what was it, General Mueller in the whorehouse. So,
yeah.
Old man has been getting some pretty choice ass the entire film.
Oh, he's getting some choice. They did not spare any money with the boobs in this movie.
They did not, without a doubt. They found the hottest chicks they could possibly find that will do it for $200, and he basically has sex with the hottest one of them all, and a completely harebrained mousetrap scene where Toulon acts like a fucking blind homeless man and walks past dozens of Nazis, and he's the number one target, and he's just fucking, he puts on a pair of John Lennon sunglasses and clicks his way around a fucking whorehouse, and then just pulls a fucking 6-armed puppet out of his arms that climbs up the walls that has nobody notices the fucking, I mean, I'm sorry, I pay attention to the world, I would see a fucking puppet climbing up the wall, and then stands there waiting for this guy to get out from banging the hot girl, making out with her in the hallway. He turns, he actually gets a shot off on the puppet, and shoots its arm off, and then somehow the tiny bullets send him fucking flying out the window, and everybody's flabbergasted about it. It is, and then the puppet climbs down the wall and goes back to Toulon, who is still, he's been sitting in a corner, twirling. If he had a phone, he would have been on like fucking Twitter or some shit. And this guy, and this puppet jumps down and goes back into his coat, and he just fucking tip-taps his way out of the scene, and nobody looks at him because it's all just whores and Nazis, and he's the only one that's neither one of them. And they're just like, oh, okay, let this man go. All-time favorite scene in this movie, without a shadow of a doubt. That is an underrated, stupid fucking scene that just made me giggle hysterically, and I hope it was intentional.
Bub, what's your favorite scene?
Oh, my favorite scene is the end scene where, you know, they're trying to get on the train and they're like, you know, how was your experience in Berlin? He's like, not so hot. Not so hot. Didn't like it. That was my favorite part of the whole movie. He's like, I
saw some friends or some shit.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
My experience differed from others. But it's like, this lady's asking, how was your fucking experience in Berlin during the fucking Holocaust? Get the fuck out of here. You know, like, how was your trip to Germany in World War II? Oh, you know, it wasn't so good. I didn't really like it. Nah.
Yeah, it was a little racist. My favorite scene is always anything that involves the leech woman. I just think it's so weird and funny, and like they keep the camera on her like way too long, so that way you notice all the deficiencies in the design and stuff. Yep. And I still like it. I don't know. I can appreciate it. So that's my
her killing Lieutenant Stein when he conveniently had the grease on under his nose to make the Hitler stash. That was like my second favorite scene.
That was a good one. So, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our break, and we are going to come back, and we'll rate Puppet Master 3, and then we're going to close this out.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. We are dedicated to bringing you the show across your favorite medium. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Please send all suggestions to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
All right, we are back, and with that, you know, we're at that spot where it's that time. It is that time again, and our Bub pick trailer of the week. So Brett gets to go first with the ratings. Brett, it is your turn to rate first. Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge. What do you think?
This movie had zero right to be watchable. It just didn't. I mean, there's no reason why this should have actually ever fucking been a good movie. But damn it, I found so much enjoyable about this film, even though it had its failures, without a doubt, which we've touched on. The ending was weak. Even though I liked the whole gore and like the major falling on the halberd and the strings, it didn't really go anywhere. It had a lot of inconsistencies, but there's actually a solid plot throughout, and if you don't hold it to the other films and the canon, it's a thoroughly enjoyable film. I was split right down the middle, so this film gets a solid 2.5.
Bub.
All right, I give this movie a 2 because, you know, I didn't hate watching it, but I didn't love watching it, you know? I mean, when they made the puppets good, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know? These puppets aren't good. They're not good, guys. Like, you know, don't make like a superhero movie about these fucking puppets that killed so many people in the first two. You know, that it kind of lost me on that. But like you said, it was a good storyline. I could follow with it, and you know, it's not like it was dragging on where I was sitting there like, am I really fucking watching this for an hour and a half? So I'll give it I'll give it a solid 2. I liked it.
All in all, this is I think is the best one of the entire franchise, and I happen to like this one the most, at least. At the very least, I like it the most. I don't know, maybe it isn't. But the story's there. There's good old-fashioned gore. It's got its like laughable parts. It's got plenty of mistakes, but there's killing Nazis. So I'm with Brett. I go 2.5 out of 5. I didn't think we were going to be this close. All of us. I thought I was going to be the one that's like getting like, oh, you're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like you guys giving it like ones and stuff.
Honestly, I felt like you and I were going to be similar in scores, and I'm actually stoked that we're identical because I'm like, I have a really big feeling that I can see Bloodbath watching this and going, fuck yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, right? So
I'm glad that I didn't give the same score because I don't want to be like you guys.
Oh no, and that's a life choice, and I commend you on that. Don't be like us.
I loathe you guys.
Yeah, I don't want to be anything like you guys. So I'm glad I gave a different score.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? I don't even want to know you guys.
hey, Bub. What do you think Sailor Moon thinks about this movie?
Oh, stop! Right?
Join us next week where we'll be talking about The Stranger. And after that, we will be turning Japanese. Until the next time, toodaloo.
Good evening.
I was surprised Brett didn't give us a 3 because of the Third Reich. Good night.
Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Written and hosted by Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667. Edited and produced by Bloodbath. Music has been graciously provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. Artwork and logo have been provided by Bub. Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, as well as @BloodGutsBluray on Twitter, @BloodGutsandBluray on Instagram, and visit our Tumblr page by going to bloodgutsandbluray.tumblr.com. For any questions regarding the show, advertising, or anything else, please send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thanks again. Get possessed.
Thank you for listening to the Court and Parts Podcast Network. To listen to more Court and Parts shows, visit courtandarts.com.